Hello and welcome to the session. In this session, we will be discussing about normalization in a database system. This is going to be a very interesting concept because, this is going to be a very interesting concept because databases are one of the important technologies which are there in any organization, be it bank, be it a university, be it any place. You will find a database available these days if there is an electronic or electronic processing system which is existing over there. Are there anything, why we talk about normalization then in database system, right? The importance of normalization is going to be with respect to that we want to store the data correctly within a database system. And if that can be achieved, correct data can be stored, then we will be getting all correct answers out of the database system. But what is a database system? In fact, before we go to the but part, let's look into the reference material. It is block 1 and block 2 of MCS 23, which we will be dealing with in this particular presentation. So let us do the what part of the database. So what is a database? Technically, its persistent word is very important. That's why it is highlighted at the top. Data value stays with the database till explicit request to remove them is made by the DBMS, which happens to be Database Management System. And Database Management System is a software which help you manage the data. Now, some of the example of Database Management System which you can draw from your real life is Access. MS Access is a database management system. Oracle is a very important database management system. SQL Server is an important database management system. DB2 from IBM is a very important system, right? PostgreSQL, right? That is a very good open source database system, right? SQL Server is a very good database system. So these are all the systems which has been designed by or the specialized programs, right, whose objective is that they allow you to store your data. But in what form this data is to be recorded? What are the advantages of this particular system, right? So this is what we want to start with and then go on to the normalization step. So finally, the definition: the database is a collection of persistent data of an enterprise for an application system. Now, application can be like if I want to know the inventory, right, or in a banking system if you want to know your balance today, right. So you have the data, you have information available to you. It is coming from a database system only. So somewhere your balance is being recorded. All the transactions which you are doing, okay, suppose you have done some withdrawal from the bank, that is getting recorded, it gets stored, and you can access that particular information. So you require some place where that information is stored. But how that information is going to be stored? So that is a database, that is the key, how the data is to be stored and what are the advantages. So first we deal with the benefits and then we talk about something else. The first benefit is the sharing of data. Now, sharing of data is like possible in existing and even new applications, may satisfy requirement of new application without addition of any more data. Now, this looks very heavy, okay, but think in terms of when you are using the railway reservation system. Nowadays, if you use the app of railway reservation system, you can save the name of the passengers within the database system, right, and that data you can reuse at many different places, all right. They can be, for example, in IGNOU we have student management system. Now that student management system can be utilized, right, for doing some kind of analysis on that particular data, right. So some kind of sharing, okay, and new applications may come in, new requirements may come in, and the data can be shared, right? The same operational data these days can be taken to data warehouses, data mining kind of technologies. Sorry. Then comes the reduction of redundancy. Now what happens, whenever we store data, then we tend to store data at several redundant places. Sorry, I'll just break for a second. Okay. So, there can be redundant data storage. Now, how we can control that redundancy? And that is where the normalization is going to help us. So, this is what it is. Now, redundancy is a typical problem which you can think in terms of, for example, you have an address book. Now, in your address book, what you can do, you can store several addresses at several different locations, say phone numbers. And over a period of time, when a phone number changes, if you forget to change the phone number at all the places, then there will be inconsistency. All right? So, redundancy sorry, because I continued from the last session, that's why slight hoarseness in the throat. So, redundancy leads to inconsistency of data, and inconsistency is definitely a problem because you don't know which phone number you are dialing. So, that may lead to some problem. Then finally, an advantage of whatever is there in this slide is that integrity can be checked and enforced. Now, integrity basically deals with correctness of data. So, that can be done when you are dealing with database approach. What kind of integrity? You can see whether the data is correct or not. There can be several constraints on data. Benefits. Transactions can be supported. Now, there can be multiple transactions, okay? Transactions like the banking transaction, okay? So, if a transaction is going on, well, good, transaction goes on for a duration. Suppose you have transferred some money from one place to another, right? The transaction will be completely done, or suppose there is a failure in between, then it will be completely undone. Okay? Just like when you are withdrawing cash from an ATM machine and you didn't get the cash, but there is a withdrawal, then there is always a correction in the transaction. So, that is how the beauty of database management systems. A transaction is basically a unit of work and may be contained in a single program and has to be done completely or not at all. Security can be enforced. Different pieces of data, okay? We can give access to the data, or there is no need for any kind of data need not be shared, right? So, it can be secured, it can be password protected. Some of only the data which is required by a particular person will be shared by him or her. For example, railway reservation system, only your data is made available to you, what reservations you have made, although there is huge amount of data available in the server. Okay. Conflicting requirements can be balanced. Now, this is a very interesting domain where when multiple kinds of users are working on a system, okay, then different requirements can be serviced by a database management systems. All right. For example, in the case when you are dealing with the, let's say, railway reservation system itself, during some of the time the maintenance work may be going on, okay, and that point of time how users will be serviced, okay. So, then those conflicting requirements, the different kinds of users, different kinds of applications, right? Some applications will be input output heavy, some applications can be input output heavy in that particular sense. Some application will require just the processor to quite some time, right. So, all these requirements can be balanced when we are dealing with the database systems, and definitely standards can be enforced, how the data is going to be organized, what way data can be dealt with. Now, next is the relational model. Now, relational model is the structure which basically tells us that this is how we are going to store our data in a database management system and how it is going to be manipulated. Well, this is one of the most fundamental and most used model in database management system, and most of the RDBMSs, I mean the database management systems which are available are RDBMSs. They started with RDBMSs, now they can be object oriented, distributed, but they support those features, but primarily they support the relational database management system. And relational model is basically based on the mathematical theory of relations, that is why the name relational model, but we are not going to deal with the relational model in that particular sense, but the logic of it. And the logic simply is that there is a structural aspect as far as relational model is concerned, and the structural aspect is that everything is represented in the form of tables. All right. So, tables, we know tables, all of us understand table, we can deal with table, so we know. We can be able to deal with the table, we can represent it, it is a two-dimensional structure, everything is to be represented in the form of table. Then comes the integrity concept. Integrity aspect is primarily keys and foreign keys within the database management system. Now, each and every record as per theory of relation has to have the primary key. All right. So, the primary key is going to be one of the most important key, okay, and the key value has to be unique and not null, cannot have a null value. All right. And foreign keys are used when there are references of data from one table to another table. So, that is where the foreign keys are important for us. Then comes the manipulative aspect. The manipulation results in tables. Okay, so, whenever we deal with tables, the manipulation, suppose you want to know who are the what are the trains going from Delhi to, let us say, Bombay, then you will get output as table. All right. So, the relational operation on tables gives you tables, and three common operations are there: selection, projection and join operation. So, these are the three common operations which are utilized. Selection basically selects some of the records. Projection reduces the length of the record, in the sense it shows only some of the columns, and join combines one or more table. Now, we are not going to discuss more about this particular operations. You can refer to your blog as far as these operations are concerned. Our main focus is going to be the normalization, and normalization we are going to discuss with the help of an example also. So, normalization is an attempt to eliminate or minimize the problems occurring due to data redundancy over the lifetime of a database. Now, how can be redundancy in data which is in the form of tables, right? So, this is what we want to study. It is an attempt for good database design using decomposition, and the principle is you decompose a relation into multiple relations. So, that is the principle with which normalization works. This is the theoretical aspect. Let us look into the example of the normalization. Let us assume a student relation, okay, and if I want to store information about student, I would like to store about his or her name, the course which he or she is registered, the phone number, the major, like what program the student is doing and what major he or she has taken, the professor who has taught that particular course, and the grade which he or she has obtained in that particular case. So, this is the simple information which we want to store. Instead of enrollment number, we are assuming that name is also unique for the students, although it is a very restrictive kind of assumption, but just for the sake of explanation we are doing. Otherwise, you all know an enrollment number is allotted to you, that becomes the primary key in a database system. Now, the constraints which we are making and assumptions which we are making here is student name is unique. That is what I already said. So, student name can qualify to be one of the candidate maybe for a primary key of the relation. A student can join many courses, right? So now that is where the problem now starts coming in. Student can join many courses. So there may be, we need to represent data for each students for many different subjects or courses. A student can have only one phone. So now a student can only be related to one phone number in this particular case, okay. So we will be storing only one phone number, he or she may be having many, but we will be requiring only one of those phone numbers for storage purposes. A student can take major in one subject only, so there will be only one major. And the course is taught by only one professor. So one course can be taught by one professor, and there is no relationship with any other thing. And one grade is given to a student for a particular course. So, I mean, obviously you cannot allot 2 grades, but for one course a student gets 1 grade, all right. So this is what the situation is. So this is the example for normalization. Look into this. The name is one of the candidate for primary key, but it may not be the primary key. Then we have the subject code, then we have phone, then we have taught by, who has taught this particular course, then the major and the grade, and some of the grade fields has been left empty because it's an ongoing course, right. Now look into the basic stuff here. What can be the primary key for this particular table? Okay, the thing which we need to understand, a primary key should uniquely identify a complete row so that it is different from other. So suppose we assume name to be the primary key. Rohit is appearing at 2 places, Martin is appearing at 2, Asif may be appearing at 1, but then Rohit is appearing not at 2 but 3 different places, you can see. So it cannot be the primary key. Although Rohit is only one person in this particular case, that is what our assumption is. It's the same Rohit who has done CS 203, who has done CS 328. So look into the second column. So Rohit has done CS 203, CS 328, and Rohit has also done 3 courses. So Rohit is allowed to do 3 courses, and that's what the data says, that Rohit has done CS 203 as well as he is registered for 492 as well as 328. Luckily his phone number is identical in all the 3 places. That's what it was, that a person, we can store only the one phone number. Okay, now one course can be taught by only one person. So CS 203 is being taught by Rajat. Let's see if CS 203 is appearing again. No, so no problem. CS 303, it is taught by Bharat. Is it appearing CS 303? It is being taught by Bharat. So the information seems to be correct, right? Consistent, all right, and goes along with the constraints which we have designed, all right. So you can check for all other courses, although there is no other course which is duplicate in this particular case, but then you can check. For the case of CS 303, it is being taught by the person. Now major belongs to a name, right? So Rohit has a major, computer science. Once again, that information is here, okay. Now can you see there is a dash between the two? So as far as computer is concerned, computer science here is different from computer science here. Now that is going to be a problem. So this redundancy of information, computer science, is leading to inconsistency. Luckily computer science is correct in this particular case, and you can refer to Martin, both the classes we have physics and then their grades, etc., which are there. So the grade is different for Rohit plus subject, he or she gets A, right. So basically if we see all these aspects, what we come to know, that the name and subject code together are unique in the entire table. I mean, if I know Rohit plus CS 203, that Rohit in subject CS 203, what I know, Rohit's phone number correctly, I know who has taught this particular course to Rohit, and then what is the major of Rohit and the grade which Rohit has obtained in this particular subject. So these two can determine all other attribute in this particular sense. If I know Rohit and the course subject code, then I can determine all other information about the Rohit. So this name plus subject code happens to be the put together happens to be the primary key for this particular table. But what we could see, there are some problems. Okay? Now let's define those problems in a very simple way. The very first problem is redundancy. Now let's look into the redundancy, where exactly those redundancies are appearing. One redundancy is appearing in the major. Is it appearing in grade? No, because Rohit in CS203 got A. Rohit in CS328 got B. That's fine, right? Rohit in CS40492 is still to get a grade. All right. So there is since the grade is completely dependent on both the attributes put together of the primary key, therefore there is no redundancy as far as grade is concerned. But what about the major? Okay. Now in major is dependent on the person, right? So name. So Rohit has taken major computer science. So there is Rohit is appearing thrice. So Rohit has a major computer science is also appearing 3 times. This information is getting repeated, and repetition of this information is redundancy. So within the table we have redundancy now. You can imagine that. Okay, taught by. So CS303 is taught by Bharat and CS303 by Bharat once again in this particular case. So this information is appearing twice. Right? So suppose a course is taken by 50 students. Okay, all those places this particular information of taught by will be repeated. But why? Because this taught by is dependent only on the subject code and not the name of the student. And phone once again is only dependent on name of the student, because phone number belongs to the student, right? So phone number is also redundant. And as I told you, suppose in these 3 places I change only information at one particular place. All right. So this is what the redundancy within the table. So you can see the redundancy within the table now. And why? Because there are only some of the information within the table are only dependent on the part of the key and not completely on the complete key. Okay, update anomalies. Now update anomaly is something like, if I want to update, okay, update a course. For example, Asif, okay. Now Asif drops this particular course, all right, CS379. He doesn't want to go on to do this 379. Then the information that course CS379, okay. So as soon as I drop this particular, I update this to some value. Okay, I'll just rephrase my words, not with Asif. This what I am discussing is this is the deletion anomaly. So if Asif, I'll just discuss the update anomaly a little bit later. Asif drops CS379. Then the information that CS379 is being taught by Ben, as well as information that Asif phone number is this and he is majoring in English, okay, and got a grade C. Oh, he has got that particular grade, so we can't drop it. But anyhow, assuming that C was not existing in that particular case, so all the information will get lost. So the information about, so there is an update anomaly, deletion anomaly. If I want to delete information, it deletes additional information like CS379 is being taught by Ben, right? So this is what the problem is. It should not get lost. Similarly, I cannot add another course, let's say CS491 on database, which has been floated by the teacher, but still there is no student who has taken that course. Now this is an insertion anomaly. And the update anomaly is something like, suppose this is visible over here, right? So we changed the by chance computer science initially was designed as computer-science, and later on it was changed to comp SCI. all right, and dash was removed. Unfortunately, when we updated, we forgot, I mean, this particular place, it was not updated due to some of the reasons or whatever maybe the constraint. Okay, so it was not updated in this particular case. So what we got? We have got incorrect information. So update anomaly. So we have done the updating of data. Similarly in phone numbers, if we update the phone numbers, there is a chance that one of the instance we miss, and that may result into update anomaly. So we perform an update, either it has to be performed on each one of them, otherwise it is going to cause an update anomaly on the data. And all these things are primarily because of one particular reason, and that is redundancy. Had this information being stored only once, what information to be stored only once? That the Rohit phone number is this. Rohit has taken major of computer science, and then the subject 203 is being taught by Rajat, CS 303 is taught by Bharat. So all this information, since it is being stored redundantly, these are calling these problems. Now how these problems can be resolved? Okay, so this is what I just discussed, the problems. So how these problems can be resolved? In order to resolve those problems, we need to understand the concept of functional dependence. Now functional dependence are constrained on a legal relation. Now what does that mean? Express facts about the enterprises that we are modeling with the database. What does that mean too? Okay, so does not mean anything right now, but let's try to understand the functional dependence. Functional dependence is that a particular model, this is basically modeling the constraint on legal relation. So in that context, let's try to understand. What is the legal constraint over here? Rohit and subject code. Okay, what we can determine? The grade. All right, so that is how the functional dependence is. Name plus subject code can lead to the grade. So there will be a unique grade for a name plus subject. However, for a typical name, so what is a student, the name happens to be the primary key. So a particular student will have one phone only. So that is another functional dependence. That is, name can determine, or main can functionally determine phone. Name can functionally determine the major. So one person can have only one computer science, that is the major. And another functional dependence is subject code can determine the subject taught by. So these are some of the functional dependencies within this particular data. And what we want to do? We want to do decomposition. Okay. So there are redundancy, update anomaly, insertion anomaly, deletion anomaly. Okay. But how to resolve that? By first understanding the functional dependence among the data values, and then performing the decomposition of data. And decomposition should be that the lossless join decomposition. That means when we join the two table again, okay, we should get back the original table. That is the constraint. Okay, and dependency preserving, all those dependencies which we talked about, they should not get violated. So let's see how we can perform this particular task. So if we see the dependency diagram as exactly what we were saying, if I know the name can uniquely determine the phone. There is only, for a given name, only one phone. So that is what? For a given name, one phone can be determined. These are the key attributes, name as well as subject code. All right. A name can uniquely determine the major. If I know the name, I can determine from the database what major he or she is having. And name happens to be the primary key. It is not other way around. If you know the majors, right? If I can refer to this location, okay, I go back to this slide. If I know the major, I do not know who is the person, right? In this particular case, okay, we are lucky that you can determine back, but for a particular major, there can be many different students, right? So that is how it goes. Phone number can determine name. However, one phone number can be shared by more than one student technically. So that is why we are using this from name to phone only. Then taught by, subject can be taught by, right? But so one subject can be taught by one person, but that teacher can teach many different subjects, right? So that is why one subject is being taught by a particular person, that dependence is there, all right? And name plus subject put together, right? So you look into the arrow from where exactly it is starting. Name plus subject can determine the grade uniquely of that particular person. It may be either there is no grade, it has not been yet assigned, or if there is a grade, it is a unique grade. For example, A in one case, B in second case, or like that, it can go on to discuss on that particular thing. So this is my dependency diagram, right? All these arrows are representing the functional dependence. And what is the cause of redundancy? That there is a dependence there is a dependence on part of the primary key, all right. So this particular, so whatever table I had shown you, it is in first normal form. So first normal form is the simplest form, it is in the first normal form, but now we need this particular table is not in second normal form because there is lot of redundancy. A table which represent all the attributes as a single attribute, it is in first normal form. All right. So this is what we have. We have first normal form table, but it is not in second normal form. So what we are going to do? Okay, we are going to do the decomposition as we said. So let's look into the first normal form. This was the first normal form. All attributes are unique, simple attributes. It's not that two information has been clubbed. For example, Rohit is registered for CS 203 and 303. We could somebody could have said, why not we write it over here? Then that is not the way data is represented in tables. Table contain only a single value. Each attribute of a table, each you can say field attribute in a technical sense, but then each field contains a single value. So this is in this is a typically first normal form, which is the data is available. The dependency diagram is this. So let's look into how we are going to decompose on the basis of this particular dependency diagram. So the problem definitely are there. How to decompose? All those primary key attributes and all those attributes which are dependent on them will be taken to one table, all right. And that means name, phone and major should go to one table, subject taught by should go to second table, and there is going to be a third table also. Okay, even if this grade is not there, even then that table is going to be there, because all the three tables need to be joined together. They should be the operation join should be performed on them so that the original information can be collected. So name plus subject plus grade. Luckily in our case, there is one attribute which is dependent on name plus subject both. So we will get that too. Suppose this attribute is not there, then the table will only contain name and subject. That this student has taken this subject, this student has taken this particular subject. All right. So this is how the whole information is going to be, and this is what is going to be our decomposition. Decomposition is primarily on the functional that is dependency diagram, that is name, phone, major. So that becomes the first table, and this relation is in second NF. Why second NF? That no attribute, non-key attribute, this is non-key attribute, no non-key attribute is part dependent on the primary key. So that is the constraint for second normal form. So the attributes are dependent now. So name becomes the primary key of the next relation, and phone and major are completely dependent on them. So this is how you get name, phone and major. So this becomes one table with the name as primary key only. Okay. Subject and taught by becomes the second table. All right. Subject and taught by becomes the second table. All right. Course and teacher. So subject who is being taught, which is being taught by which teacher. And third table is the result, where primary key happens to be name plus subject, both, right, put together, and they determine the grade. All right. So, this is how the decomposition takes place, and we have moved into the second NF. Is this particular data into third NF? Okay. Now, third NF is primarily cannot be explained with this particular example, because third NF is primarily dependent on if there is a dependence between the non-key attributes. All right. So, that is why we are going to take a different example for third NF. So, this example 2 talks about the third normal form. Now, what is there in this third normal form? We have the once again student relationship, but some changes where roll number has been added just for the sake of, and remember these roll numbers are happen to be somewhat unique or not. Roll numbers are unique, right? 1760, they are all unique. So, that means these are all independent students. So, roll number happens to be the primary key in this particular case, right. So, a roll number, a student, that is the name of the student. Okay. So, roll number can determine the name of the student uniquely, that is what it is. Roll number relates to the department or major in what was there in the previous case. So, roll number uniquely determines the department, whether physics, whatever. Then the year of the student. Okay. So, year happens to be like first year, and the hostel allotted to him. Now, a unique constraint which we want to add in this particular relation is that the students of a particular year are allotted a particular hostel. So, if a student is in year 1, the hostel which will be allotted will be Ganga. Okay. If that means you can see the redundancy now appearing here. Now, this is a typical case. This is a fabricated example, but there can be real life situation like this. Okay. So, year 1 Ganga is allotted, year 2 Kaveri hostel is allotted. Okay. Number 3 Krishna is allotted, and year 4 Godavari hostel is allotted. So, this is a unique case. First year students in one hostel, second year students in another hostel, third year students in third hostel, and fourth year students in the fourth hostel. So, if I know the year of the student, I can uniquely identify which hostel he or she will be allotted. All right. Similarly, okay, so one will be allotted either, the Ganga in that particular sense, 2 will be allotted Kaveri, 3 will be allotted Krishna, and 4 will be allotted Godavari. Can you see once again the redundancy has crept in? That 1 relates to Ganga has been crept in here. So, Ganga is getting repeated. Okay. So, if there are 100 Ganga students, the first year students, then this Ganga will be repeating 100 times, which is redundant. All right. So, the redundancy has crept in, and once redundancy has crept in, it leads to update, insertion, right, update anomaly, insertion anomaly, okay, and inconsistency is definitely there, and deletion anomaly. So, whenever redundancy is there, it leads to all those problems. So, how to avoid that particular problem? How to solve this particular problem? Let us look into the dependency diagram once again. Roll number, it is the key attribute. It uniquely determines the name, only one name. If roll number is 1, only one name is associated with it. Department can be determined, okay, which department the student is belonging to, the year of the student, and it can also determine the hostel. You can see that. However, there is a transitive dependency among the two attributes, year and hostel. So, basically the dependency is, if I know the roll number, I know the year, and year can determine hostel. That is why this transitive dependency is appearing over here. Okay, not because it can be uniquely done like that. It is the roll number is determining year, and year is determining hostel. So, roll number can determine the hostel. This is what is called the transitive dependency. All right. In any case, the dependency is appearing because there is a dependency between year and the hostel. So, if that is the dependency which is appearing because which is there, so once again there is, as we saw, there is redundancy of information. Redundancy is a problem in any of the database management system. So, what do? We do normalization. But is it which normal form the whole table is? Everything is unique, right? So, this is first normal form. no path dependence on the primary key. You can see this particular diagram, there is no path dependence on the primary key. Primary key, in fact, in this particular case contains only one attribute. So there cannot be any path dependence on the primary key. So obviously all the attributes are into the second normal form. So this particular relation, okay, is in second normal form. But since there is a transitive dependency here, it is not in the third normal form. Transitive dependency is because of the dependency between the non-key attribute, which results into this transitive dependency. So there is a redundancy. Okay, and how to solve this particular problem, how to convert it into third normal form? Once again, what is going to determine the stuff? Year and hostel, they are forming as one particular dependency. So what we can do, we can take this particular transitive dependency, in fact this particular dependency, into another table. Now you may say that this dependency will be violated then. No, this dependency is result of this dependency as well as this dependency. So this dependency will be preserved in one of the table, and year and hostel, the second dependency will be preserved. Means roll number to hostel dependency, which is a transitive dependency, will be preserved through two dependencies. Alright. So this is going to, so decomposition has to be dependency preserving. Alright. In our previous case, we have not discussed about the dependency preservation, but you can see these two dependencies are in the first relation. This particular dependency into the third relation which we have designed, the third relation over here, and the name plus subject jointly determining grade is preserved in the result kind of stuff, right. So how the third dependency is going to be, so we have to be preserving the dependency. So how we will be preserving? Year and hostel will become part of third normal table, of one normal table, and roll number, name, department and year will become the part of another table. Okay. So third normal form basically is the result is in 2NF and all attributes in the relation schemes are functionally dependent only on the key. So the relation only on the functional, but there is a transitive dependency. That is where the whole problem starts. So what do? In third normal form we decompose, we get this. Now remember, if I want to get the original information, I have to take join between student, department and hostel on the field year, where it is year is going to be transit, that is foreign key, right. Year is foreign key in this particular stuff. So by taking a join onto this year foreign key, I will be able to construct the original table, and that is why I am saying it is there is no loss, it is lossless join, right, lossless join. And same applies to the previous case which we have discussed, right. So these tables, if I want to construct the original table, what join I will be taking? I will be joining results and student info on name and CT and result onto subject. So when I will be joining these three tables together onto these, okay, then only I will be able to complete the stuff. Now remember, subject is a foreign key to CT table and name is a foreign key to student information table. So this is how you actually convert or you design your databases, which are normalized databases. They add on to the overheads of joining, but they reduce the redundancy to a great extent, thus creating a very good database environment which can be, which basically does not have low in integrity, it has high integrity in that particular sense. So let us basically summarize the key points of normalization. If we are dealing with all relations to 1NF, eliminate variable length records. Simply that is what you have to do. Each attribute should represent one value. When you represent 1NF to 2NF, remove dependency on non-key attribute on the part of the multi-attribute key. That's like what we did. And if I am moving from second NF to third NF relation, remove dependency on non-key attribute on other non-key attributes. So this is what we do. So you can study the blocks, activities what you can do. You can study block 1 and block 2 and do the related check your progresses and do several exercises on normalization, and it will be definitely helping you. I think with this I will end this particular session. Thanks and bye. बंद हो गया?